Hi, folks. I'm Gene McLaughlin. I'd like to welcome you to Old Bridge Outlook with Mayor Owen Henry. On this program, the mayor has a chance to talk to you about things taking place in the township and to introduce you to people making things happen in the township. So, Mayor, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good, Gene. Thanks for having me again.
Good, Mayor. Always a pleasure. Mayor, a couple things since we last met. I noticed police exams are underway. How is that
With the
going?
adoption of the budget, Gene, we had some positions funded now. And the last 3 hiring cycles, we've used what's called the alternate route method for to hire police, where you're taking members from another department, or you have people that have already been through the police academy. This time we're giving a test. I like to refer the old-fashioned way. I think the last time the chief told me he gave a test, or the chief in Old Bridge, was 2004. So
Really?
It's been a while.
Really?
Where we've given a test, where candidates have to meet the requirements to take the test, and all that information will be available on the TV and on the township website.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to limit it to 200 applicants.
Okay.
And they will take the test sometime in April, but all that information is coming up, and I'm looking forward to it, Gene, because it's going to give opportunity to some highly qualified individuals for a career path in law enforcement. And it'll be the old-fashioned way. Well, they will have to take the written test, they will have to take the physical test, and if they meet those requirements with a certain specific score, they will then be interviewed. And then we will develop a list of candidates.
Okay.
And depending on where we are with manpower, and I believe the academy is going to start in August, so we're excited.
Well, that's what I'm getting at. This list is going to comprise people that would be as call-ups in case of retirements, attrition.
We have a list to go to where then they
people
would
that leave the area, whatever. Then you pull from that list. Interesting. Are there any dates involved with this?
I don't have the specific dates, but I know it's all published. It's out there.
Right.
I believe the test is sometime in April.
Right.
And there's a cutoff date for when you can apply. Like I said, it's going to be limited to the first 200. So I really encourage anyone who is interested to get that information. That's part of the process.
Well, it is posted, Mayor. It is
get it posted, get the information, get the application in, and start studying.
Okay.
With the application will come a study guide, so start studying.
Good, thank you, Mayor. Mayor, in the spirit of keeping the roads constantly under work, I see Texas Road is now having some work done.
There are some improvement projects going on at Texas Road. There's resurfacing going on. I like to call it the Old Bridge section, from Texas Road to the Monroe border. We're going to be resurfacing that portion of Texas Road. The long-awaited intersection of Englishtown Road and Texas Road, that's being done by the developer in Woodhaven. That project should be starting any day. It was delayed because of weather, but when you see this program, the work is going to be in process. And that we've needed that for years with that intersection.
Yes, sir.
That seems to be the bottleneck. They'll be adding turning lanes. They're going to be working on the signal itself.
Right.
So there's a lot of things going to be happening out there. And then the continuation of Texas Road. There's improvements all along Texas Road as we move forward with the Woodhaven development. So people, they've been waiting for years.
Right.
Well, it's here now.
Okay.
Another road in that area, East Greystone Road, is going to be getting milled and paved. By the time you see this show, it's probably going to be done already by then. So that's another road that needed to be worked on for years now. Anyone driving down there, you would lose half your car in some of those potholes that developed.
Yeah.
And we tried to stay on top of it, but those roads were there for a while, but we're finally getting to them. So there's a lot happening in that area of town in South Old Bridge where it really needed it. So we focused a lot of our efforts there. And this is part of the 2015 improvements. And you're going to see a whole nother round of 2016 improvements happening now.
Okay, well, thank you, Mayor. I'm sure the people down that way
yes.
are going to appreciate it.
There's going to be some inconvenience now with the closure of Texas Road and some detours.
Yes.
But it's going to be worth the wait.
Yeah. Okay, Mayor. Good. Thank you, Mayor. Last time we were together, we touched briefly on one of your pet peeves, and that is the messing up of Old Bridge, the lack of decorum on the part of our residents or visitors that throw things out. Well, today I think we can go into it a little more in depth, if you will. Folks, the mayor, as you may have heard in the past, has got some strong passions about the problem of littering here in the township. And to help us clarify what goes on, I'm delighted to welcome our guest today, Debbie DePew. Debbie is the recycling coordinator and also the Clean Communities coordinator. Right, Debbie?
Thank you.
I got that all right?
Yes, you did.
Okay, well, thank you, Debbie. Debbie, tell us a little bit about your responsibilities. What does recycling and Clean Communities entail?
Well, as a recycling coordinator, I have to make sure that everyone in town is recycling and that your recycling is being picked up and that it's being separated and taken care of in a timely and mannerly fashion. As the Clean Communities Coordinator, my job is to make sure that every township road is clean, and that's a very big task. And that's how we started the Mayor Henry's Clean Team, to make sure that the roadways were cleaned up and that we really concentrated on getting all of the township roadways clean.
Thank you. Mayor, you have made this in many other programs. You have made this a personal vendetta to get this place cleaned up. Huh?
You know, 4 years ago, Gene, when I ran for 5 years ago, I lose track of time, when I
Right.
first became the mayor, myself, along with Councilwoman Debbie Walker,
Right.
Councilwoman Mary Sohar, you know, we kind of challenged Debbie to come up with a program, because we saw the amount of litter that was on the sides of the roads.
Yeah.
And we said, you know, we have to do something. And Debbie came up with a program. I think it's been modeled in a lot of other communities. I've given not speeches, but we've talked about it at forums and what we do, how we do it here in Old Bridge. I believe it works. We're picking up a tremendous amount of material off the sides of our roads. Unfortunately, we have to do it every year. And I think it speaks volume about a community that when you drive into it and the first thing you see are either clean roadways
Yes.
or litter roadways.
Right.
It speaks volumes of that
Right.
community. And if anyone's looking to relocate to community, or you know, why would you want to move to something
Place
that
it,
doesn't
yeah.
look appealing?
Right.
Who would want to live on it in a dirty house or a property that's littered?
Yeah.
And I take it personally. I started off with the Environmental Commission many moons ago,
Yeah.
and I've always been. For some reason, I just come maybe being a Boy Scout growing up in town, taking ownership of a town. You know, you don't throw your garbage out the window, especially when there is a place for everything. It's not like there's no place to put it. And all you have to do is put in a little bag in your car. There's no
Right.
reason
Right.
to throw.
To
But
throw
to make
it
a
out.
long story short, Debbie came up with a program, the Mayor Henry's
Yeah.
Clean Team, where we encourage local civic organizations, nonprofit organizations to come out, give up a couple hours on a Saturday, and help me and help anyone who wants to join clean up the town. We do it road by road, and the program has grown. I mean, the first year we did a couple cleanups, and here we are. We have Debbie go into
70
details. She has all the
78
numbers.
groups.
Yeah.
You'll see you'll see the amount of people that get involved in this and the enthusiasm. I see them on the weekends. The kids, the parents really appreciate it. So
All right.
I'm glad we have it.
I think you're doing a great job. And Debbie, before we went on the air, you cited some numbers. Would you just repeat that for our audience,
Sure.
please,
When
about
we-
the number of groups when you started this effort, and what do we have now?
Absolutely. The first year that we started in 2012, we had 24 groups that participated
Okay.
in Mayor Henry's Clean Team. As of today, we have 78 groups signed up for 2016.
Three and a half times almost as many. That's pretty good.
Yes.
Pretty good evidence of what's going on here. Debbie, springtime is cleanup time traditionally, I guess. Tell us about this year's effort, if you would. Where are you starting? When are you starting? It's underway right now. I mean, April's here. You're sort of kicking off.
Yes, we will be starting this weekend.
Right.
We will be doing a kickoff of the Mayor Henry's Clean Team this weekend. We will be cleaning up Geik Park. We'll be cleaning up at Madison Park with the students. We'll also be cleaning roadways all over town. We'll be doing Ferry Road. We'll be doing West Greystone, Perrine Road. So we have a number of organizations that are participating this weekend. And each time that we go out, we clean 5 to 6 streets plus a number of parks on the same day.
Wow, that's a lot of work. That is a lot of work. What kind of litter do you pick up? What's the most common thing you find that people are disposing of on the road?
The most common thing that we
Yes,
find
ma'am.
is cigarette butts. Thousands and thousands of cigarette butts. But we find a lot of the same litter each time that we go out and pick up litter.
Yeah.
We find soda cans, we find water bottles, we find McDonald's bags. We find household garbage, and the mayor can tell you about many of the items that we find: mattresses, box springs, all types of furniture that's thrown on the side of the road.
Wow, that's big litter, Mayor.
It's a lot.
Mattress
And
and
unfortunately, I find that there's a lot of alcoholic beverage containers on the
Yes.
sides of the roads. It's amazing. Some roads are just covered with the small
Those
bottles
small
or
little
the
bottles,
beer
yeah,
cans,
yeah.
and you just wonder,
What are people
what
doing, or
what
how
are
many
people
people are out
doing?
there? Huh?
Yeah.
Where's
But-
the biggest problem? What areas are the biggest problem? Where do you have the most trouble with the litter?
The biggest problems that we have are Perrine Road, Cheesequake Road, Waterworks Road, Kearney and Sandfield, and then
Wow.
also Texas Road, which is a county road.
Well, those streets you named earlier, sort of remote streets, though, Perrine and Waterworks and Kearney, they're sort of remote areas, so people just take advantage when they're driving through, I imagine, just disposing of things, huh?
Unfortunately, they open up their window and they throw the litter out the window instead of just keeping it in the car.
Well, okay. A couple of other things, Debbie, if I may. We talked off the air about 2 programs, Adopt a Beach and Adopt a Highway. Would you touch on those a little bit, please?
Sure.
What is Adopt a Beach?
Adopt a Beach program is instituted through the New Jersey Clean Communities, and Old Bridge is a member of the Adopt a Beach program. We do 1 or 2 beach cleanups each year where we report the amount of litter. We organize the cleanup. This year we're planning on doing 2 or 3 different cleanups. Not only do we do Lawrence Harbor now, but we also do Pirates Cove. So we've gone from 1 cleanup now to 2 different cleanups in the same day. So we open it up to all the local residents, to all the scouts, to all the high school groups, to any group that would like to come out, any resident, the CAG group, who would like to come out there and help us clean up. And we have a very good response from the township residents.
Okay, and I was going to come back to that too, Debbie, if you'd hold that thought. If we could come back to Lawrence Harbor for a minute, Mayor, this has been in the news around here for a long time. How are we doing over there generally with this cleanup, the chemical, the Department of Environmental Protection? What's happening
We're
there
in
now?
litigation now. We're National Lead, who's been deemed the responsible party for the contamination in that area.
Yes.
With these kettle bottoms. The beachhead was made in, and they're breaking down and they're releasing these heavy metals into the sand, and that's why the fence is up. They don't want people to have access to this lead and other contaminants. There's litigation going on with National Lead and the Federal Environmental Protection Agency, and Old Bridge has been brought into that litigation, unfortunately. And we're working through it. We're working through it, and hopefully within the next few months, we'll be getting some answers about when the cleanup is going to take place. I mean, the action plan has been put into effect. The material is going to be gathered, dug up, and moved off-site. At one point, there was talk about burying it.
Right.
And there was a lot of opposition to that. So it's going to be picked up. It's going to move off-site. It's just a matter of now of who's going to pay for it.
Right.
And so National Lead is trying to drag as many people as they can into it.
Yeah.
But they've been deemed the responsible party. The last number I heard, it was somewhere in the $70 to $77 million in the cleanup effort. So it's a big project. But in the short term, they are going to be cleaning up Margaret's Creek, which is that little section of lowlands between Lawrence Harbor and Cliffwood Beach, the Margaret's Creek. They're going to be cleaning up the lead contamination that was due because of Sandy, was displaced up into Margaret's Creek, so it's right on the surface. So they're going to go in there and take that material out within the next few months. So it is moving. I know it's been a long time, but believe it or not, they say this is one of the fastest sites they've seen move forward with such years. But it's a drain on the community. It's a drain on Ward 1, and it's a drain on Ward 6 because it's here.
It would be great just to restore some of the beauty of that area. I mean, that's such a beautiful area physically to look at over the water, over to Brooklyn, over to Staten Island.
You see the skyline of Manhattan, the Freedom Tower. So we're working as hard as we can to get that, and I thank the residents in that area who stay on top of it and keep trying to get the EPA to move.
Okay, well, thank you, Mayor. And folks, we're talking right now with Debbie DePew, who is our recycling and our Clean Communities coordinator. We're talking about a little bit about the litter problem here in the township, what you can do about it, what we are doing about it here, and we'll pick up the subject in a moment, so please stay with us.
Forget about it, kid. You're in the storm drain now.
But I should be in the trash can.
People threw all of us down here. Then they hosed in those rotting leaves. We're litter now. We gotta stick together. Here's our ride to the beach.
More litter?
Not just litter, kid. Pure pollution.
What goes in our storm drains ends up on our beaches. Clean water. It's up to you, New Jersey.
When you're out there, there's no telling what you'll find.
I see it! Oh, look at you.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org.
And
Your seat cushion can be used to grant wishes.
Who said that? Hello?
Really can, you know.
You talking to me?
Sure am. Because the airline miles you earn and donate to Make-A-Wish can help send thousands of kids on their wish trips. So donate to Make-A-Wish today.
You really should, you know. You really should.
And give wishes wings. Because wishes work wonders.
Folks, welcome back to Old Bridge Outlook. Today we're talking about cleaning up Old Bridge, which is underway right now. We're going to get into a little more detail about what's entailed in this. Our guest, Debbie DePew, our Recycling and Clean Communities Coordinator. Debbie, if we can pick up a little bit. Before we went to the break, we had touched on Adopt a Beach. There's also the Adopt a Highway program. See the signs
Correct.
all over. How does that work?
That works, and any business can adopt a 1 mile of roadway, and it would be a state highway. And as you know, we have Route 9, Route 34,
Yes, ma'am.
Route 18.
Right.
We have quite a bit of roadway, and we're looking for businesses that would like to adopt a 1 mile section.
Okay.
And when you do adopt that 1 mile section, you are given training, you are given the supplies, and you do get a very nice sign on the roadway stating that you
Right.
have adopted that area. So we are looking for any companies or any businesses or anyone that was, any groups, could be a scout group, it could be a homeowners group who would like to adopt part of the highway.
Is this a contractual obligation of some kind with people enter into, or?
Yes, it is. It's through the state, it's through the New Jersey State DEP and the Clean Communities program.
Okay, so there is a formal process to
Yes,
this where
there
they
is.
have to maintain, actually clean up the roadway
Yeah.
and adopt it.
They have to maintain the roadway, they have to do 2 cleanups a year, and they do go out and check to make sure it's done.
Okay, thank you, Debbie. Debbie, who does all this work? I mean, you've got a lot of people out there. You've talked about the groups, 24 to 78 groups. You have a lot of volunteers. You have the scouts, you have school people. Who's doing all of this work mostly?
Mostly it's all of the groups that are throughout the town. The word has spread like wildfire.
Right.
When we first started this, I had to actually go to the recreation board and tell these groups, we're here and your teams can raise money. You don't have to go out and shake the can. All you have to do is go out there for a 3-hour cleanup and your group can earn $500. And 3 hours happens to be a very long time to clean up the roadway.
Oh, I bet it is.
The mayor will attest to that. When he's out there with the kids, after about an hour, they've had enough. But it is for a 3-hour cleanup.
And you, yes, ma'am,
Gene,
please.
we found
go.
out the schools participate, all our sporting youth leagues participate.
Okay.
And we're getting a lot of adults are participating
Yes.
in this now, homeowners associations.
Oh, really?
And, any group that wants to, get $500 for 3 hours, it's well worth it. And these sporting groups have a bunch of teams, so it adds up. And you figure 70-something groups at $500
Yeah.
a piece. It's
Yeah.
a lot of money put right back into the community.
Right.
And a lot of times, some organizations take this money and they do really good things with it. They sponsor scholarships at the high school. They
okay.
fund their programs, to
Yeah.
buy their materials. So it's a win-win-win for everyone. The town gets cleaned up and the organizations get the funding that they need, and it makes people feel responsible. Once they clean up a road,
Yeah, then they
and
then they own it.
that's a big
Gives
part of
them
the mayor.
ownership, huh?
The mayor's clean team is education. At the end of each cleanup, if I have time, I will sit there. What did we learn today? We have to break. As I always said, we have to break this tide. This of
Literally, it's tied.
this tide of
Yeah.
the disposable throw it
Right.
out your window society.
Right.
And
okay.
the only way we're going to do that is through education. As these younger people coming up, that they don't do it.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. Debbie, funding. Mayor, you just touched a little bit on funding. Who pays for all this? The mayor just touched on a little bit. There are grants. There's how's it work?
There is the Clean Communities grant, and what we do is the town gets money each year, and it goes by the miles of road you have in the population. Last year we got $114,000.
Really?
So we are able to buy all of the supplies that we need, the garbage bags, the vests, the grabbers, everything that we need. Signs, we have new signage this year to try and keep everybody safe on the road. We bring in public works employees that come and they direct traffic. We bring the auxiliary police in, which we're so grateful for. They come out there with the police cars and they help us. And of course, our #1 volunteer happens to be the mayor.
I gather.
I'm sure he has many stories, but I have found him in gullies, driving down the road. I was ready to yell at the person because I thought it was one of the kids until I saw that it was
So
the
it was
mayor.
the mayor.
And he goes into the gully and he'll pull the garbage out of the gully because we will not allow the students in the
Sure.
gully.
No, I can
He'll pull
understand.
the garbage out of the gully and throw it on the side of the road. He found a homeless man, which I'm sure he'll tell you about, last year, and he was running across Route 516 after a homeless man that he found in one of the cleanups. So he is there, and he doesn't leave each cleanup until he has a bag full of garbage. And he's normally out doing a cleanup in a suit and tie.
Well, Mayor, I introduce you as
I don't know if that's good or bad.
I introduce you as someone very passionate about this topic, and this sort of verifies this.
And it's great because I get to meet a lot of good people.
You meet a lot of people,
I meet a
definitely.
lot of good, the kids and the parents who take the time out to be there on the side of the road with the kids. It says a lot about that family.
Okay, Mayor, thanks. Debbie, if we can segue a little bit to individual homeowner, recycling.
Yes.
We're going to recycle cans, papers, bottles. What are we going to do now?
Okay,
What's happening?
we have gone to single stream recycling, which started on March 30th of
Which
last year.
means what?
Which means that anything that you can recycle, you can you can mix it in the same can.
Really?
You no longer have to separate your cans from your paper, from your cardboard. You can mix everything together. We're trying to get the recycling rates up, so the state is trying to make things easier for the residents.
Oh, that's the purpose of it.
Yes, we
As
want to get
opposed
the rates up.
okay. So as opposed to the old way where you separated cans from bottles, from paper, from... Is this going to work, you think? Or make just a soupy mess?
Well, there is a lot of residue, and you know, I have been first on the line to see the items as they come through, and
Yes,
a lot of things are contaminated when they are mixed together.
Right.
But we're hoping that it's easier for people to recycle. We're trying to get every homeowner to recycle, which is a very difficult thing.
Well, as the mayor suggested, Mayor, education, big part of this.
Education, even with the recycling portion of this, we're in the schools, Debbie's in the schools teaching the children how important it is to recycle. I mean, it's basically their future that they're looking out for.
Right, and there are some Ad Council PSAs running right now, as we discussed, on the importance of recycling and minimizing litter.
Correct.
Okay. If I have other items, if I have oil, if I have batteries, if I have paint, tires, what do I do with those?
Okay, we do have ways that you can recycle it. We have items that we collect at our recycling center now. We have some new things that we're collecting that maybe many residents are not aware of. You can now recycle a mattress in a box spring. You can now recycle concrete, brick, and block. A lot of people have a piece of concrete around the house. They threw it in the backyard because they didn't know what to do with it, and the garbage company wouldn't take it.
Right.
It's something that we can recycle. Any type of metal. And there's many things in your home that you have that are metal that you don't even realize.
Yes, ma'am.
Old bed frames that you have up in the attic, pots, pans, any type of metal, we also recycle that. If you have carpeting, you bring it to us and you do not have to discard of it in the garbage. It's an item that can be recycled. Besides the motor oil and also car batteries. And then we do paint the second Saturday of each month here in Old Bridge.
Okay, Debbie, one thing just occurred to me. We have a lot of new people in the township. Where exactly is the recycling facility here in the township? If you just position it for people from here in the municipal center, where is it? Where will they find it?
Sure, we are right in back of the dog kennel. If you see the sign for the dog kennel,
Right.
you pull straight through and you'll be right in the recycling center.
Okay, thank you. Mayor, penalty for littering? Is there a penalty for it if I'm caught littering?
We do have an enforcement policy with this, and I've asked the police to step up, and we have assigned detectives at time
Really?
to find out. And we've had large, as you want to call them, drop-offs, especially on Waterworks Road, where we've had trucks pulled up and dumped a large quantity of material. We have made progress in catching those people. The fine is $1,200 if you are caught,
Really?
and also we confiscate your vehicle if you are
Yes.
caught. And we have done that a number of times with people going in dumpsters behind shopping centers, and the police will pull up on them. And they do get in trouble for that, for dumping in other people's dumpsters.
Really?
Contractors who are
Yeah.
probably getting paid to dispose of this material. They'll
Yes.
go find a dumpster at night and throw their construction debris in somebody else's dumpster. So it's a big problem. We are going to be enhancing our enforcement effort. We're in the process now of looking at potential surveillance cameras.
Really?
The new technology now, we could read license plates. We can get facial good pictures as opposed to these funny, fuzzy, grainy pictures. So we're getting high resolution, and we will catch you, and you will pay the fine, and you might lose your vehicle. So it's and once the word gets out, we've learned that from other towns.
Yeah, I was
Once
gonna ask
the
you
word
that, yeah.
gets out that one or two guys lose their trucks in Old Bridge, it's going to have a big impact. They're not going to come to Old Bridge, and they'll find another town, or maybe they'll do it the way they should be doing it. Because it's if you're a contractor, get a container. If it's on site, it's easier to throw the construction debris on site away as opposed to driving around
Yes,
and
sir.
spending time looking for a place to dump it and running that risk of getting caught. It's really not worth it.
No, you're certainly putting into perspective the magnitude of this problem.
Yes.
When, $1,200 fine, cameras to scan license plates, confiscating vehicles, this is a serious issue.
Well, when we have to send a team out to clean up couches and beds and large construction piles of the construction debris, the taxpayers are paying for that group to go out there, our truck, our machines to go clean it up. It's expensive. $1,200 probably doesn't cover it.
No, I'm sure it doesn't. But it's just amazing, which brings me to one of my favorite questions here. And Debbie, we chatted about this a little bit before we went on the air, and that is, why do people litter? And Mayor, you may want to jump in on this too. Why do they do it?
It's very difficult to figure out why people litter. I really had to look it up. Like, why do people litter?
Why do they toss that can out of the...
They believe that somebody else is going to pick it up, and they really don't feel that they have a sense of ownership. And everyone does have a sense of ownership. These are our township streets. One of the things that I talk to the children about when I go to the schools, I tell them, when you go to a ball field, see if you could pick up one piece of litter. See if you could pick something up and put it into the recycling bin. Try and make Old Bridge clean. Try and make Old Bridge a green place, a place that everyone wants to live.
Yeah, Mayor, would you have anything to add to that? Why you think people litter? I mean, you've been at this such a long time with such passion.
With the health issues people are having, I think it's having an impact on our environment. The amount of this material that's getting into our groundwater, it's getting into, as these chemicals break down, it's unacceptable. And the parents and the children of the generations coming, they should be very concerned that this material should not be on the sides of our roads. It should be in a landfill that's properly, with the liner, and it's capped.
Right.
And as this stuff deteriorates, it doesn't get into the environment.
Do you think that we have just grown up culturally with a disposability mindset, that everything is disposable
I've said it
in
many
one
times,
form or
Gene,
another?
we've always been a disposable society.
Yes,
we
sir.
buy things and we throw it
Or
out.
we throw it away.
But
yeah.
at some point in time, I don't know, maybe over the last 10 to 15 years, we've become a throw it out the window society. We've always thrown things away, but we never threw it out the window.
No.
And now we are, and I don't know when that happened and what caused that to happen. As Debbie said, a lack of ownership, but this is your town.
Right.
And when you're going through a town, you should respect that town. You shouldn't go through a town and throw it out, throw stuff out a window in another town. I wouldn't come to your house and throw something out in your yard.
Okay.
So I don't get it. I personally don't get it. I don't
You
know
and
if
me
it's
both.
I'm hoping it's a lack of education, and we're filling that void. I hate to use the word ignorance. If people are that ignorant to think that they can throw something out the window and then somebody's going to come behind and clean it up, that's selfish. That's just
Sure is.
no
Debbie,
friend of mine.
Yeah, no. Debbie, I'm going to give you the last word. What would be your message to the residents?
My message would be to please recycle. It's very important for the environment, and to please keep our roadways clean. Old Bridge takes pride in keeping Old Bridge clean and green, and if there's any organization that would like to sign up for a cleanup, we'd love to have you. It's a very educational process for the students and the parents, and it makes everyone more aware of litter.
And who would they call?
They would call my line at 732-721-5600. My extension is 6107, or they can send me an email, and my email address is D, and then my last name, DePew, DEPEW, @oldbridge.com.
Okay, well, Debbie, certainly want to thank you for coming in today, and thank you for the magnificent job you're doing. I didn't realize it was this big a problem here in the township.
Thank you, Gene.
But folks, I hope you got some kind of an idea of the magnitude of this problem we've been discussing today. As Debbie has said, please don't litter. Put a bag in your car. Throw it out there. Don't throw it on the roadway. And Mayor, thank you again.
Thank you, Gene.
And we'll see you next time, folks. This has been Old Bridge Outlook with Mayor Owen Henry. I'm Gene McLaughlin. Take care.